All right. I took some notes because I need to tell my friend and maybe you all about why I quit the gym. And I didn't say that it was Lifetime in the title because I'm not trying to come after Lifetime. I think it is a wonderful place for certain types of people. And I'll get more into that type later. But for me, I remember I think it was like 2022. Like everything was perfect in my life. Like I had my practices down. I didn't realize I was spiritually bypassing some stuff, but I had my practices down. Money was just raining on me. I had all this free time and all this peace, but I didn't realize that was like I needed to maintain some of those practices and the spaciousness in order to keep the flow going. But since I was rolling in it, I was like, let me just like join Lifetime again. Because we had been Lifetime members when, like, before my wife had lost one of her executive directorships. So we rejoined, and it's only been this past, say, 2 months. So, end of the year of the snake, end of 2025. It's not the Lunar New Year yet. But I was like, I recorded this long voice memo that I tried to find and couldn't. So, hello, I'm on YouTube Live right now. I talked about all the reasons, like I talked myself through all the reasons why I was done having a gym membership. But this morning, without, railing on anyone who goes to the gym, I was doing my second day of mobility work with these Australians. Amazing. And I say amazing because, like, the simplest things that I feel like I should be able to do, but I realize I can't do anymore. Um, but you do like 3 reps and you're like, oh, okay, I got it back. I can see this getting better already. Um, I wanted to talk about this to my friend who I'm sending the video to because we chatted once about how and why and how we couldn't figure out working out and why it was so god awfully painful when it used to bring us joy. This has been a topic that I've talked with several people about, and I've been experimenting with for the last several years. And I can start maybe with saying that if you've ever been on specifically and maybe broadly antibiotics that end in floxin, um, your tendons and ligaments may have been compromised, like mine. I took ciprofloxacin for a bladder infection like 10, 12 years ago. And then I tried to take a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class. And remember, I used to play rugby. I used to hit people like 2 times my size at speed and be fine. I mean, as fine as, being addicted to NSAIDs was, but in the moment, I'd be fine. And I basically was trying to do a back roll and popped something in my upper back that basically debilitated me for a few months. And at that time, I really didn't know a life outside of work and contribution and direct, grinding my face off. It literally felt like the end of my life. So you could have had antibiotics. I also have learned over the years that um, different bodies and blood type psychology, whatever, Koreans, worked for me. I learned I was an A positive, and apparently, lots of meat doesn't work for me. But, the idea of being strong, is like you're gonna bulk up. But then I look back and I'm like, there are a bunch of people I know who can, like, throw people twice their size, and they're skinny little things. So I was attached to this not only notion that I needed to eat a lot of meat, because the calories, because the protein, but it was also one of the only ways that with how busy I kept myself, that I could get enough calories, in a short period of time. Like, I used to not take lunch breaks. I would just eat at my desk, yo. Horrible, horrible, horrible lifestyle. Um, but the inputs that you have, like what's the quality of them? I remember listening to Sadhguru on YouTube, and I'm not like a follower, but people say some wise things, and he's like, "So why is it that the most advanced and modern nations have the oldest food?" Like, why are we eating shit off of boxes out of boxes that have been sitting on the shelves for months, weeks, right? Like, if you take a carrot or a celery or even a potato, um, out of the fridge or, actually incubate an egg that was fertilized, it will grow life, y'all. But listen, it's an aside, an entirely different video about, like, I'm sure Americans have issues with mold and fungi, but we're just, like, papered over it because when I told my doctor I thought I was having some issues with mold, you know how simple it is to, like, blow your nose and culture that? They don't do that. They just go, "Oh, you don't need to worry, you don't have any systemic issues." Silly, silly, silly medical system sometimes, because it's considered normal for people to have, like, foot fungus in America. What? Take your shoes off. Um, we don't need all those, like, ads for fucking foot fungus. Sorry to swear, this is not made for kids. Um, but also the another reason, it's a little disjointed, my bad, you're just gonna have to understand for today, but the environment that you're in matters a lot, and for me, most of the time when I'm at a gym, I can't even help it. I'm like, you know, trying to like do the exercises that other people are doing or, jumping on a machine which only really has you do like one range of motion. And it would work, but then I would be in horrible pain. And I used to think, this is just my injury. This is the heart attack, maybe I'm not circulating my nutrients because my cardiovascular system. No, honey. It's called, for me, decades of being taught how to do things properly. So please go back and see my live from yesterday because the things that we're told not to do by personal trainers, I've had personal trainers. I've had PTs at the highest level. I have bought other types of like pelvic floor PT, right? And it's like everyone is treating symptoms. They're not getting to the root of an issue. And for me, I realized in human design, I have a lot of open centers, and some people would call that also very empathetic. But when I'm in the gym, like in every January, it's always felt horrible. And it's like some of it is no matter what I do, I'd go home horrible or more, bleh. And it's because like the people that drag themselves to the gym, for New Year's resolutions, which is January in the Gregorian calendar, which was made up, y'all. It was made up. Like nature is there are no animales outside right now. It is fucking cold in Minnesota. Like, this is not the time to light a fire under your ass and try to do a bunch of stuff. But that's people talk about, "Oh, people fail New Year's resolutions because of this and blah, blah, blah," and they're just trying to sell you something. I am trying to unsell you on a whole bunch of really humanity defeating ideas, right? Because we've been thinking, oh, I'm a failure because I can't stick to my New Year's resolution. Well, try to time it for when nature actually has energy for change, y'all. Right now is the energy for shedding. And so I had to shed my gym membership. And our household is saving like $350 or $370 a month. And you know what? I'm going to buy me some books. I'm going to read them. I'm just going to sit around and do as little as possible. Although my mind can't help it, I just love, like, learning things. I do consider that restful in an odd way, but I'm also working on actually closing my eyes in the middle of the day multiple times, whether it's to do transcendental meditation, whether it's to take a nap, whether it's to, like, focus on the muscles that I'm actually using. So what other things that I wanted to cover? Oh, yeah, I did talk about some timing, but I wanna talk about addiction here just a little bit because the way that I see most people living their lives and the way that I used to live my life because I was trained like y'all, um, you don't have a lot of joy. So when people hit the gym, like I asked my hairdresser, like, "What are you doing for joy these days?" And like the last 2 times I've asked him, he's like, "Going to the gym." And I respect that. Like we all need a thing. But I also wanna say that if you are going to the gym and you're going there a lot, and not having like a hobby or like, you know, like a chill hobby. Like we both my wife and I had to figure out chill hobbies. Thankfully I always had reading and writing, but you're getting the endorphins, you're getting the feel good chemicals that are made when the body like flexes and contracts muscles. Look that up. It's actually very effective with depression. But if you don't have anywhere else that you're getting good feels from, you're going to overdo it at the gym. And what's crazy is that, I was taught as a varsity athlete in the early 2000s that there was a certain way to build muscle. And a lot of that was like pushed through the pain. And now people are learning and trying to spread the gospel that you can actually build a heck of a lot more muscle just like resisting putting the dumbbell down and doing way fewer reps and working out only 2 to 3 times a week, just being really strategic about your recovery. And you will actually get massive gains. Not that I want massive gains anymore, because the last time I put on a six pack, I did it in a month and a half, and I like literally couldn't stop eating. My entire life was disrupted because I had to eat 5 times a day. I'm not going to ever do that to myself again. But I also want to close this out by saying that something else I learned and noticed this morning, and it was while I was exploring some ancestral connections around shamanism. Left turn, I know, but I noticed that this upper back area was getting super duper tight, like almost painful. And yeah, you could say it's because I did some back bendy things yesterday, but I felt amazing doing that yesterday. And it just got me to remember that there was a time in my life during my healing journey where, because I was finally tuning into pain and it was so overwhelming, even when the pain was going away, I was actually often activated and worried about this pain and that pain and what is this, oh god, what does this mean, and did I overdo it again? And sometimes I want you to start interpreting tightness and pain, and even sharp pains that just go away right away, as your body actually releasing something. And this is backed up in traditional Chinese medicine where, you know, I'm sick of hearing this now. So I'm just going to say it. It's my pet peeve. Spread the word. When people are like, everything is popping and it's just because I'm getting older. And I looked this up once, and it really changed the way I looked at my life, because my hands used to pop. Like every single joint in my hands used to pop when I was in like early, like grade school. So obviously I'm not aged at that point. And that is actually, I'm holding out on the answer. I don't know why. That is a symptom of your energy attempting to flow there and having an abundance of energy there. And so if you're constantly like, my neck was popping like crazy in the last month because it was it was just as I was like breaking beyond these blocks that I had developed. And some of it was ancestral, but some of it was also within my own lifetime, where speaking, like the neck, it's how you speak as well as how you filter out and have boundaries with one another. It's like to know what's yours and what isn't yours. And imagine, I didn't know until really this last year that if I spend a lot of time in a room with people that don't know that they're pissed off, but they're pissed off and they're hurting, my body would also start hurting. Like they call that like clairsentience, which was something that we used to burn people over. And we used to burn people over that because it wasn't masculine power. It wasn't like, it wasn't safe for women to be powerful in those times. And now I'm like, you know what? I might look like a boy, but I'm so glad I got lady parts. Cuz I get to have that 6th, 7th, maybe 8th sense. And I get to guide my life accordingly now. And when I think about all the things that I've learned and all the pain that I had that turned into suffering because my interpretation of it, the way that my brain was trained, cultured, brought up to believe the masculine ways of interpreting things. They say that the mind in yoga, they say that the mind is a cutting tool. It's not something that helps you bring things together. And I was thinking about that with college. It's like I was saying the entire time I was in college, I'm like, all of these various academic disciplines, they're all just saying different variations of the same thing, and they're all fighting each other. They're all arguing that they're wrong and we're right, and it's exhausting, y'all. So a young me knew. Younger me really did know, but I was also told by my mom, and I had grown up without a lot of money, like, not a I'm talking $10,000 a year, not a lot of money, and public assistance, not a lot of money, and, food stamps and food shelves, not a lot of money, and I was told I had to go and, like, be a certain way in order to make a living, right, and to not be, I didn't know I was destitute in a lot of ways, I guess, or labeled or could have been labeled destitute. I would wrote about this on my Substack, but that kind of got into my head, right? Like, I got on the internet and, because my brother bought me a computer, and I started to feel like I wasn't enough. And I feel like all of the, like, wise women of the world have just been trying to tell us, like, the grandmas, the chill moms have been just trying to tell us, like, our whole lives, like, "You're enough, honey, just enjoy life. Kick back a little. Like, take it easy. Let it flow. Like, just see what happens. Try it out." Um, and there's a place for both the masculine and the feminine in our lives, in society, but we've overdone it on the must protect, like, must defend, like, stab, 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 cut, 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 prevent violence. We gotta chill on that, y'all, because that isn't helping. The ability to just lay on the ground and move in weird ways. And then they're only weird because, we're told that we need to grow up and adulting is important. But maybe we need to, like, what's a word that isn't like babying? I need a word. I need a word for that because we need to return to a more youthful spirit. Like the kind that says, "Let's try this out. We'll see what happens." And if something breaks, like, we can all just hang out and, like, watch a movie, and we'll feel bet don't watch movies, and feel better about it, or go outside, do something. But I feel like we have been self-limiting as adults, and I do say that because I did this to myself, and I see it happening all the time, and my wife is working through this right now. Um, we just limit ourselves, and we limit ourselves because we have these stories in our head for how something's supposed to go and how it should be and what a good person looks like and what a good life, is structured like, and honestly, a lot of that is just bullshit. So anyway, I think that's a good place to stop, I think. Is there anything else that I'm supposed to channel out today, spirit? Anything? No? I can get on working on my finances after this? Do I have a photo consult in an hour and a half? Yes? Excellent. Okay. I'm gonna stop that for now then. Let me know if you have any questions.